So I have to start this with an apology. For those of you who have attended a lot of Stetson home football games, you know that I normally am dressed in a kilt when at this stadium, but unfortunately the attire would not allow for it. So, that being aside, welcome. Stetson has developed many traditions over its 133 years. Some are old, like the Floyd M. Riddick Model Senate program. Some are young, like wearing kilts to football games. When we first arrived on campus, we didn't know all of these traditions. We were away from home, many of us for the first time. And we didn't have someone telling us where to be or when to be there. So we started making our own traditions. For instance, every Thursday night, a group of honors students and myself would all meet up at the honors house and then go on an adventure somewhere around campus. That first month, as we were developing this ritual, I found myself lying on the couch of the honors house. It was September 26th, the day before my birthday. And as the hours drew near to midnight, I didn't really know what my first birthday away from home would feel like. Back home, we had our own traditions. My family and I would go out to eat at a restaurant of my choice. My mom would buy cake. But here, I didn't know what to expect. As the clock struck midnight, I looked around the room of the honors house common area and saw all of my friends with giant smiles on their faces. I thought at the time they were just happy to wish me a happy birthday. What I hadn't realized was that Stetson has a birthday tradition of its own. For those friends in the audience who didn't understand that laugh from the chuckle of the graduating class, the reason that my classmates and I are laughing is because it's a long-time Stetson tradition to be thrown into the fountain on your birthday. So there I am, lying on the couch with all of my friends surrounding me. They hoist me up like a baseball player who had just hit a walk-off home run and start carrying me. They carry me outside. We pass the Carlton Union building. We go through the Stetson Green, and as we get to the picnic tables in Palm Court, I realize what's happening. So it's my 19th birthday, and I'm on the shoulders of 4 guys walking towards the fountain in the middle of the night. As I get closer, I start to worry. If you know me, you know I have an absolute hatred of cold water, and I assumed the fountain was as cold as Antarctica. I also knew that the fountain wasn't very deep, and that if they threw me from where I was on top of their shoulders, hitting that cement could hurt. I guess my friends started to think about that as well, because as we got there, they started to hesitate and talked about how they were going to throw me in the fountain. They ignored the fact, of course, that I was protesting and did it anyway. They counted to 3, and I held my breath. I distinctly remember thinking 2 things as I hit the water. Wow, the fountain's a lot warmer than I expected. And it's a lot deeper than I thought. I reemerged, and all my friends were laughing and cheering, and of course, because we're millennials, taking pictures on our cell phones. We went back to the house, and I dried off, and we went on with our typical night. As birthdays have passed, I've come to learn more about the tradition of being thrown into the fountain on your birthday. For instance, apparently the reason that people were first thrown into the fountain on their birthday was because the fountain wasn't as nice and clean as it is now. Even in our short time here, the fountain has been painted and cleaned up. It went from being white 4 years ago to the blue color it is today. Class of 2016, today is kind of like our birthdays. You may be surrounded by family and friends. You might eat some cake at the receptions after the ceremony, and you may receive some gifts. But we're all going to be thrown into the fountain of postgraduate life. At first, that sounds kind of scary. Will it be cold? Will it be deep enough? What will happen when we emerge from the water? Will our friends be standing around cheering and taking pictures? I won't lie, these are questions that I've asked myself over the past few months, and I haven't really come up with a good answer. However, I can say that over these last few years, we've developed something. We've developed a family. That family might be your brothers on the football team or your sisters in your sorority, maybe your mock trial family or the family you went abroad with. But this Stetson family, I can assure you, will be there on your birthday to pick you up and carry you on their shoulders. But it's not just enough to be carried on your shoulders. Your family has to be the ones to toss you in to what is yet to come. Can you imagine if those honors kids would have just carried me to the fountain and listened to me when I said, "No, really, guys, I'll just jump in, I swear." If they would have let me down, I can assure you I would have sprinted in the opposite direction. But they didn't. They threw me into what was yet to come next. In that same way, our Stetson family has pushed and thrown us along the path. Our advisors have pushed us to go for the Reach Graduate School. Our coaches have made us run that extra lap for conditioning. And our professors have urged us to take on the research topic, even if it was more difficult and harder, because that's what family does. They push you to be the best, even if it seems hard. For that, we owe them thanks. Before I continue, I'd like to thank a few people. To my parents, thank you for always keeping me on track and my head pointed in the right direction. To my siblings, thank you for always brightening my day. To my grandparents, thank you for loving me unconditionally. To my professors and teachers along my educational journey, thank you for showing me the joy that is education. And to all my friends and family, thank you for throwing me into the fountain time and time again. So as we leave this ceremony today and go on to eat cake and be merry, remember two things. The water will be warmer than you think. The fountain will be a little bit deeper than you'd imagine. And when you reemerge from that water, your Stetson family will be around you. Also remember that we're all a lot like Howler Fountain. We're all a bit different looking now than when we were when we first got here, a bit cleaner and more sharp. And our traditions aren't just our own. They're the traditions of those who have come before us and those who will come after us. Class of 2016, we've made a lot of traditions over these last few years, but these traditions would be nothing without our family to share them with. Thank you.